French throw a little spilled salt behind their shoulder in order to hit the devil in the eye to temporarily prevent him from further mischief. Now, that's the one that I actually heard.
Hello, ghoul friends, and welcome to the Freaky Femme podcast. I'm Em.
And I'm Doll, and we are going to be talking about superstitions. Very superstitious. Riding on
You
the
should add that
wall.
song.
So I was thinking the other day, I was like, bro, I stepped on a crack and then immediately got a phone call from my mom. Like, she was calling me from the ER because she said her back was broken. And I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So I was wondering, like, where did superstitions like that come from? And I know they probably all have origins in, like, old folk tales, but also, like, I guess fortunes and luck probably has a hand in it. So let's get into the origins of superstitions, and then we'll get into a few superstitions themselves and, like, explain them. Okay. Superstitions have ancient origins, and their meaning has changed over time. The concept of superstitions originated in ancient Greece in the 4th century of BCE, ancient Babylonia. Some of today's most popular superstitions originated in ancient Babylonia. The ancient Sumerians threw salt over their shoulders to get rid of bad luck from spilled salt around 3500 BC. That's one of the superstitions we're going to get into, because I always wondered, like, if you spill salt, throw it over your shoulder, you won't live to be my shoulder. Like, bro, why? They say that they did that, but it
I
doesn't
didn't know
explain
that
why.
part. I didn't know the saying.
The ancient Egyptians believed that a black cat crossing your path brings you bad luck. Okay, that's funny. It came back all the way from the Egyptians, because I was thinking that a black cat crossing your path came from the superstition of witches, because people believed that witches had, like, black cat familiars. But I guess it went back even further. We're going to get into that one too. Why do people believe in superstitions? People believe in superstitions for a variety of reasons, including old folklore, the desire to feel good, the belief that luck isn't tangible, and the belief that what they want to hear is true. Okay, that's not very good explanation, but thank you. That's where all the different superstitions, or the thoughts of superstitions, they come from multiple different places. But America kind of popularized a lot of them in, I guess, around 30s, 40s. Okay, so we're gonna get into the superstition about the black cat. The superstition of black cats being bad luck originated in Europe during the Middle Ages. Okay, that's not true though, because it just told us that what's it called? It just told us that Egyptians believed that black cats crossing your path was bad luck. So Google AI, you did wrong, but we're gonna keep going. Originated in Europe during the Middle Ages. The superstition has roots in Greek mythology and the Catholic Church. In Greek mythology, Hera transformed her servant into a black cat as punishment, then became an assistant to Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft. So it does have origins in witchcraft. Is basically familiars. Okay, that's what I thought, yeah. Okay, Catholic Church. A document from the Catholic Church in the 13th century linked black cats to Satan. Like, bro, why? Okay, tell us why you thought that, Pope. I'll go to the Pope. Pope, can you give us a reason why? No, everybody wants to have these, like, rules and things, and they don't ever want to tell anybody why. It literally comes from the fact when your parent says, you say why, and your parent says, because I said so. Middle Ages. During the Middle Ages, black cats were seen as pests and were sometimes killed. Some people blamed cats for spreading the bubonic plague. Can't even say that word. In medieval Europe, people believed that the devil and witches could take the form of black cats. Like, I would think if you were, like, scared of, like if you said cats, I would think it would be all cats because all cats kind of act similar. It's just the fact that it's black that they're like, ooh. They literally
I'm
have a
like,
pet
they're
cat.
all evil. It's not just if they're black. I had a black cat, and his name was Legion, and he was pure evil. He would wait till I go to sleep, and he'd scratch my face.
Maybe it was one of Hera's servants.
Maybe he's like, I don't like you. And then I got mad at him one day because he tore up my stuff. So I threw him outside. When I say throw him, I like,
Set him outside.
pushed him outside. Yeah, set him outside and shut the door. And I'm like, oh, I can't stand him. And then I started crying because I couldn't find him. But then I'm like looking through the bushes, and he was like right by the house the whole time.
That reminds me of one of our nieces. She has a black cat. This cat hates. Well, it loves her, but she'll like dress it up and then she'll like swing it around. But this cat is constantly trying to escape. He's if the door is open or any chance it gets, it tries to escape. Well, he got outside and he ran for his life. And then she kept telling us, she was like, he ran away. When he'll be? She named him Chocolate. Chocolate ran away. He's never coming back. And I was like, maybe just go outside and shake some food and like I bet he'll be back. I said that thinking fully that this cat would never come back. Well, this cat ended up like getting on their fence and would just watch from afar. And whenever she came outside, it would run. It would run for its life. And they finally captured it and put it back inside. I'm like, that poor cat's like literally like in those old cartoons, like a person in jail with the little metal cup going across the bars, like, let me out, let me out. Anyways, so
goodness,
I feel like
funny.
it also is like a hit or miss with most cats in general. I don't think it's just has to do because people say the same thing about orange cats. There's a lot of people that don't like orange cats because they say that they're evil. But I had an orange cat. It was the sweetest, funniest, like laziest big orange cat you ever meet. And the same thing with that black cat. I had a ginormous black cat, and that cat was the sweetest out of the whole litter. So I really think it's like cats are really hit and miss on their personality. I feel like with dogs, you usually know their temperament based on their breed, but with cats, have you seen that meme where it's like, I got a dog. Oh, what breed is it? And they say some fancy name, and they're like, I got a cat. Like, oh, what breed is it? Trash cat. I found it in the dumpster. Because it's like cats there is some cats that have, I guess, breeds, but most cats feel like they're like, it's a cat. That's the breed.
Yeah. Unless they're like a Sphinx cat or something. Like
yeah.
Those.
I really want a hairless cat so bad, bro.
I do too. That's the only kind that I can have. I'm highly allergic.
Some people believe that if a black cat crossed their path without harming you, it meant that the devil was protecting you. Okay. I want to get into where they say that if a black cat crosses your path, I guess the black cat crossing your path is bad luck. Means that something bad's going to happen. Comes from the Egyptians. Okay. In Britain,
and if they believe that black cats means Satan's protecting you, maybe they're like, oh well, there's a witch nearby or something.
Yeah. In Britain, some wives of fishermen believed that their husbands would return safely if a black cat was kept in their house. Today, there is a growing movement to celebrate black cats and raise awareness about their true nature. Yeah, I feel like black cats get a bad rap, but I really think it's just should be cats in general. Like, the cats are really hit and miss. Most stray cats I've always had, or like cats that I've like found in the wild, they're always the sweetest. But one time I got a cat, like got it from a pet store, the meanest cat I've ever met in my life. It was so mean. Like, one second...
What color was he?
He was gray and white striped. He was really pretty and he had bright green eyes. And I called him Meow Cat Assassin from Adventure Time. He literally was. Like, you know my old dog Penny? Well, whenever Penny was just sleeping in the sun, and you know how old she was when she already had a missing eye and a broken leg. She was sitting in the sun sleeping. This cat would sneak up on her and then just wait and then just spank her in the face, like slap her in the face multiple times and run off. And then Penny would jump up like what happened? And then she'd see the cat and she'd start running up it. He'd run up its tree. Then Penny'd go back and lay down and he'd crawl down and go over there and do the exact same thing. But like I would pick up this cat because this cat would like go around my legs and like want me to pick it up. So I pick it up and I would hold it and all of a sudden it would turn and look at me and then just slap me in the face, but with his claws. I had like claw marks down my face. It hurt so bad. But yeah, this cat was
Well, that's what
literally
my
like
cat did. It
waiting.
did the same as Penny. It would wait till I go to sleep and close my eyes, and then be like, "What?"
Now's a perfect time. So yeah, I really think it's just cats in general. You never know what you're gonna get.
It makes me sad that black cats have such a bad rep because then they like don't get adopted or
Yeah,
like people
that's
don't
usually
take them
that was a
home, and I'm like,
thing.
they're so pretty.
They are, and their eyes are usually so like stand out so much.
Mhm.
Says during the Middle Ages in Europe, the fear of black cats reached its peak when they were linked to witches and were persecuted alongside accused witches. That's so sad. Can you imagine? This cat's just walking by and they're like, that's a
They
familiar,
make
that's
them
the
walk
witch.
the gallows
Yeah.
just like the witches.
They tie
Put 'em in
rocks around its
cuffs.
legs and throw it into the water. Like, don't worry, if it's not a bad cat, it will float back up to the top. No,
It
no,
can swim if it's not
no.
bad.
Wasn't that okay? That's something funny. You know, well, it's not funny. It's sad. But with witches, they said we're gonna tie rocks around their legs and we're gonna throw them in the lake. Now, if they're able to surface, if they live, then they're a witch. But if they die, they weren't a witch. So it's a lose-lose situation for them.
It's a lose-lose, yeah.
Yeah, they're literally like, if they die, they weren't a witch, but they're dead. But if they live, then they were a witch, and we gotta kill them again. Stuff like that.
Oh,
It's so
man.
crazy. It's like none of them were using their heads. Actually, they might have been using their heads. They were just. Did you know that a lot of the accusations came from people being jealous of other people? They just did it to get rid of them, not because they actually believed they were witches.
That's not surprising at all in men, all the
Yeah.
misogyny back then.
A lot of them was so sad because it was just women like lying about other women, and then men,
Yep.
being like, "Oh yes, she bewitched
Wanted to
me."
get rid of their mistress,
Yes.
and they were like, "She was a witch."
Yeah, they're literally like, she bewitched me. She made me fall in love with her. I have a crush on her, and I have a wife and 10 kids. Kill her. It was all her fault.
Yep.
She made me. Okay, so let's get into now. Poor black cats, guys. Okay, adopt your local black cat. They're carrying something, whether it be the bubonic plague, bad luck, good luck, witchcraft. It's something, and it could be good. So, just try it. Why don't you? Okay, the next one I want to get into is we're gonna go ahead and get on to the crack. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty. I want to know about this crack. I've been wondering about this crack for a long time. Okay, the superstition about step on a crack and break your mother's back means that if you means if you step on a crack on the sidewalk, it will bring bad luck to your mother. Why your mother? Why your mother gotta suffer? Why can't it be the dad, bro? Okay. Mom's back's already been hurting so much of giving birth to all these children. Okay. Often interpreted as a way of saying that stepping on cracks is generally bad luck. This is usually a childhood rhyme, but some people still believe it is true. Key points of this superstition. The rhyme, the most common way that this superstition is expressed is through the rhyme. Step on a crack and break your mother's back. Bro, I know that. Symbolic meaning, cracks are often seen as representations, disturbances, or breaks in the world. So stepping on them could be interpreted as inviting negative energy or misfortune. Interesting. So the whole rhyme goes, step on a crack, you'll break your mother's back. Step on a line, you'll break your father's spine. Step in a ditch, your mother's nose will itch. Step in the dirt, you'll tear your father's shirt. Okay, bro. Interesting. I never heard the whole version. It is believed in the 19th century the saying was rooted in racism. The heck?
What?
In the 20th century, it was used by teachers to scare children. You will be eaten by bears at lunch if you step on a crack. To say any of these reasons are strange is an understatement, for real. Why was this teacher just trying to scare children? All these people are like, there has to be a different origin. So I only knew the mother's back part. My mom and I would were very close, but we had our moments, like her not letting me watch the Elephant Man movie. Okay, girl, we don't need to know this. You know, dumb things like that.
She probably out there stepping on all the cracks.
Yeah. One of those days.
This is for you, Mom.
Yes, that's what she says. One of these days, I would purposely step on every crack walking home. I didn't just step, I jumped on them. This is what you get for not letting me watch the Elephant Man, Mom. Like, why even? Like, girl, your mom was protecting you. You didn't want to watch the Elephant Man, I'll tell you that much. Okay.
It was so sad. That movie is so sad.
I know. Sometimes more than once. By that time, I got to my grandmother's home to wait for my mom to pick me up. Anxiety filled my brain with worry. What if she gets into a car accident on the way home to pick me up? What if she can't ever move again? What if I killed her? Quickly, I would pray for forgiveness. I didn't mean it. And then the story ends. Like, they didn't tell us anything about the origin. Girl.
Probably
bye.
because the mom died. Because she broke
And
her
she's
back
like, my
seriously
prayer.
got broke on the
Oh,
way
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
picking her up from school.
Yeah, the ending of the story says, my prayers were not answered. My mother was found dead. She was crippled along on the sidewalk.
Is that really?
No, I just added that because they ended the story. They wanted me to download an app to finish it, so I finished it for her.
That's so funny.
Okay, so let's get into the actual fact of it. Thank you. It's believed in the US that stepping on a crack on the ground is considered bad luck. This superstition stems from one variation of an old child's rhyme. Step on a crack to break your mother's back. Yeah, I know that. Also, the rabbit's foot. I didn't even think about that. In the US, it is believed that the left... Wait. So, everybody's just telling me... Everything that's just telling me that the only reason that has been bad luck is because it came from that rhyme. Is because some person came up with that rhyme and made children believe that if they stepped on a crack, they would break their mother's back.
No kids will believe anything, though.
Yeah, but I was like, there has to be an origin somewhere. Like, that cracks. I guess it did tell us. It did kind of tell us that cracks are often represented as disturbance or breaks in the world. So stepping on them could be interpreted as inviting negative energy or misfortune. That's the only symbolic thing I can find. So basically just cracks in the world that they believe that negative energy leaks out of. Okay.
You know, us getting taught that, I'm not gonna lie, I stepped on cracks. In low key, like, wondering if it would work. Like the girl in the story.
For real. I remember when my...
Your mom would say that.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, well, let's test it. And step on a crack and then, like,
Yes.
look back and see if anything happened.
I remember one time I was walking, I think with Dad and Mom, and then Dad said that. And then I, by accident, I was like avoiding all the cracks, and I by accident stepped on one. He's like, oh, you broke my back. And then Mom pretended like her back hurt. And then I started crying. I was like, but you remember when Mom would throw her backs out? I would think that was because my fault.
About that.
She would throw her back out all the time. What did you do actually? It wasn't because she was doing cartwheels at 40 years old. It was because you were stepping on those cracks. They didn't give us much information except for cracks just leak bad energy out of the world. So cracks are like the world's butt crack, and it farts, and the farts carry the bad energy, and if you step on that, you leak the bad energy into your life. That's what my assumptions are going to be for that one.
That's your take on it?
Yeah, since nobody has a good one. Okay, so let's go ahead and do knock on wood.
Do it.
Knock on wood.
That's one I do. I still do that to this day, and I'll look around for wood.
Okay, the phrase knock on wood may have originated from ancient pagan beliefs, a child's game, or Christian symbolism. Ancient pagans' belief, people believed spirits lived in trees, and that knocking on wood would protect them from bad luck. They may have also knocked on wood to show gratitude for good luck. In Irish folklore, touching trees was a way of thanking leprechauns. They say
Unless you're
hug a tree, they
Superstar,
meant it.
because the main girl like makes out with a tree. So
Oh, well, she was showing a lot of appreciation, I guess, for the
yes,
leprechauns.
a lot.
A little
Yep, she
too
loved the
much.
leprechauns apparently.
Okay, children's game. British folklorist Steve Rod suggests that the phrase comes from a 19th century children's game called Taggy Touchwood. In this game, players were immune from being tagged if they touched wood. Okay. Christian symbolism. Christians may have linked this practice to the wood of the cross from Christ's crucifixion. So they think it's like more holy or a protection, basically. Other theories, miners may have knocked on the support rafters inside their mines to assure they weren't rotten. Which is, that one I actually think is the origin of it, to be honest. I know there's a lot. Well, when I think of wood, people usually mean like wood that isn't trees. You know, trees are wood. But since there's so many sayings and different things that came around at the same time, knock on wood, saying knock on wood is basically you're trying to prevent something bad from happening, right? Because you say something and then you knock on wood to try to keep that from happening, right? So I'm really thinking that comes from the miners doing that, because there's a lot of sayings that come from the miners that they would do. So they would knock on the wood to make sure, the mine wouldn't collapse on them. The practice may have originated from a belief that malevolent spirits inhabited woods. We already heard that one. Other cultures. In Turkey, they pull one earlobe and knock on wood twice for luck. In Italy, the expression is touch iron whenever you're tempting fate. Interesting. So when you're about to do something reckless, you're supposed to touch iron. That's kind of like the saying we have now.
Like, how do you know that you're touching actual iron? I feel like even wood is kind of like iffy. I'm like, is this real wood?
Yeah.
Hoping for the best here.
Touch iron makes me think of the saying we say now, which is touch grass. When we're telling people to touch grass, it's basically you're online too much. You need to go outside and touch grass. Okay, so that's what we need to know about knocking on wood. That's a lot of interesting facts. Walking under a ladder superstition. This is another one. This one and the umbrella is what I always heard growing up. Okay, walking under a ladder. This superstition about walking under a ladder is that it brings bad luck. The belief stems from the idea that ladders leaning against a wall creates a triangle, which represents the Holy Trinity, and walking under it is considered... Yeah, Illuminati confirmed. Walking under is considered disrespectful. It's to this sacred space, potentially leading to misfortune. Okay, so hey, listen, at least they gave us literal background on it. Okay, key points.
Kind of like the Bermuda Triangle. That's a triangle.
Key points about the ladder superstition. Origins. Some theories suggest that the association with bad luck might come from the medieval times when ladders resembled gallows, so walking under one was seen as a symbolic act of passing under a place of death. So you basically be like, you're next, kind of thing. Symbolic meaning. A triangle formed by a ladder leaning against a wall is often linked to Christian concept of the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We already heard that. Avoiding bad luck. If you accidentally walk under a ladder, some people believe you can counteract the bad luck by crossing your fingers, spitting, and walking backwards under it. Okay, guys, remember that.
What if you hit your head on the ladder?
Cross your fingers, spit, walk backwards underneath it. Don't forget that, just in case you walk under a ladder. I feel like hardly any ladders are leaned up against a wall. nowadays. Like they're like already a
I feel
triangle.
like even in cartoons, it was always an open ladder and
Mm-hmm.
someone would walk under it. It was never something like sitting.
Yeah.
Well, maybe back then they didn't have them like fold out because
Yeah.
there are those
Mm-hmm.
ones that like lean against like
Yeah,
a
most of them
building.
were leaning
Uh-huh.
against walls. That's why I think it was so big back in the 30s. Like you'd see it in cartoons, like old cartoons all the time, because the ladders were like that more. But also, um, you can't really walk under ladders nowadays because they have those support things, and unless you
Mm-hmm.
crouch. So why would anybody be walking under it? Because it almost goes to the fact it's like people were walking under them by accident, or is the only way they could get around it. Nowadays you can
Mm-hmm.
get around it pretty easily, I think. But guys, if you need to reverse your bad luck, walk backwards, spitting, crossing your fingers. It's like a ritual thing almost. Okay, that was a pretty self-explanatory one. So next, now I want to know about the salt because I've done this. When I found out about this one, if I spelt salt, I would throw it over my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Roman soldiers were paid salt money, from which we take our English word salary. The early Greeks worshipped salt no less than the sun, and had a saying that no one should trust a man without first eating a peck of salt with him. The moral being that by the time one had shared a peck of salt with another person, they would no longer be strangers. The widespread superstition that spilling salt brings bad luck is believed to have originated with the overturned salt cellar in front of Judas Iscariot at the Last Supper, an incident immortalized in Leonardo da Vinci's famous painting. According to an old Norwegian superstition, a person will shed as many tears as will be necessary to dissolve the salt spilt. Okay, that's a lot of information, like bunches of different things about salt at once. That's very interesting. So I guess people, since there was salt spilled in front of Judas, his they were indicating that he was going to, I guess, die soon.
Like bad
So
luck for
that's
you,
because
Judas.
I'm guessing that's where the saying came: if you spill salt, throw it over your shoulder, you won't live to be much older.
But then they also, especially in like superstitions and stuff, like having like a ring of salt and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah,
salt is
salt. Yeah,
pure.
purifies. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So
So that's
that's
also
what confuses me with
interesting.
it too.
It's also interesting because I think it all originated from how scarce salt was, and it was a very like high commodity thing. So like Norwegians, like you're not supposed to waste it at all. If you spilt it, then somebody would suffer basically, crying as much tears as it took to dissolve the salt that was spilt. That's kind of crazy.
Probably because they had really bland food and they really needed that salt. I'm a salt lover myself. I'm like, need salt.
I'm more of like, I feel like I'm one of those only people that's like, if there's pepper, I'll be using it on my mac and cheese. I'll use pepper and things, but I feel like pepper, like hardly anybody uses it.
Yeah.
An Old English belief has it that every grain of salt spilled represents future tears. The Germans believed that whoever spills salt arouses enmity because it is thought that to be the direct act of the devil. Okay. The French throw a little spilled salt behind their shoulder in order to hit the devil in the eye to temporarily prevent him from further mischief. Now, that's the one that I actually heard. So they believed, I guess, if salt was spilled, it meant, like, I guess, an oncoming
It summoned Satan
more
and he's sitting behind you
yeah.
and you gotta get it in his eye.
So if salt was spilt, it was like a misfortune, like the devil was around you. So you had to throw it over your shoulder to hit the devil in the eye to get him away from you. Be like, be gone, devil.
I love that. Oh, it's like our poor sister that got the sand in the eye.
Yeah, there's
That's
even
probably how
more
the
that people
devil
say.
feels when you get salted.
Oh yes. Oh my goodness. Probably 10 times worse. Actually, well, salt would be more burning. I think sand just gonna tear
Yeah.
up your retina. Tossing salt over your left shoulder was thought to be put into the devil's face, making him think twice about what he was about to do and giving the host an opportunity to change their luck. So next time you feel like something's about to go down that's bad, just go get some salt real quick and throw it over your left shoulder, guys. Not right, left. The devil's always on your left
Gotta
shoulder,
get
the
the devil
angel's
in
on
the
your
eye.
right. Yeah, so if your angel's on your right shoulder, the devil's on your left, you gotta hit the left.
So don't hit the right, because you might hit your angel in the eye. And they might stop protecting you.
In
They're
falling...
like, I'm out,
Oh,
skis.
sorry. In falling a little deeper down this rabbit hole, I came up with a little more information to explain why the left side would get such grief. It seems that roughly 85 to 90% of the population is right-handed, while up to 15% is left-handed. Being left-handed singled a person out and caused suspicion, which could sometimes end up with them being accused of witchcraft or demonic possession. Poor person's like, I just went with my left hand. Devil! It's the devil! Get him! Get the salt! Get the salt! And they're throwing salt in their eyes. That poor kid.
Yeah, my poor daughter writes with her left hand.
And you used to be left-handed. Remember, Mom made you write with your right?
I was ambidextrous or
Yeah,
whatever. I
because-
use both. Even now, I'll be like trying to do something with my right, and I'm like, and switch to my left to see if I can do it better.
And Papa was left-handed too, but his teacher made him do right, and he was ambidextrous too. I think it's even more rare to be ambidextrous. Ambidextrous.
Yeah, well, didn't they say
Ambidextrous.
that the percentage of left hands
It's only
are
15%
way-
is left-handed, so it's even less true.
Yeah, because
people that can
also
use both
Justin
hands.
was left-handed.
That's a lot of left people
You
letting you
know.
know. That's kind
I
of
know.
odd when you think about it. We need to get some
Mhm.
more salt, Em. Where's the salt? The devil's on your shoulder.
got
Let's get the
some.
salt.
I know.
The word sinister, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, comes from the Latin word meaning on the left, which would definitely give us an idea of where the devil would hang out if he were whispering in our ear. Literally what I said, the angel's on your right. I thought it probably came from that idea about like the angel's on your right and the devil's on your left, like telling you to do bad things. Like we always see depictions in shows and movies where you got the angel and the devil on your shoulder. Basically, your
I'm
conscience.
just thinking of Emperor's New Groove.
Yes,
with
yes.
Crunk.
Says, don't get me started on the sides of the body and what they were traditionally thought of representing. That is a whole other thing. Let's just say
I want to know.
I know. Let's just say most references I find state that feminine energy resides on the left side. Wow, really?
Wow.
Okay, then.
Wow, misogynists.
That's
It's
why you like
definitely
salty
written by a
foods so
man.
much. Yeah.
Mhm.
Feminine energy resides on the left side and male energy resides on the right. Of course it does. Of course it
How
does.
convenient.
It is also mentioned that the right side is strong. Goodness. It's also mentioned that the right side is stronger and the left side is
Which
thought.
they say it's
it's
whichever
weaker.
one you use the
Yeah,
most,
mhm.
honestly.
Yes. And well, this is actually sad. I don't know if I always thought this when I first found this out. I was like, got really scared because I was like, one time I was watching the news and it says that they were doing a study and study showed that people that were born left-handed and used their left side and their left hand the majority of their life died younger than people that use the right side. And the why that is, they figured out, is because the side of your brain that you're using to use your left side more than your right side. And that's why I think, this is just my hypothesis.
Work extra hard.
Yeah, you need to start
the
working on
right
your right
side.
side a little bit. Why I think this is my hypothesis. I'm getting into my doctor brain. I think it is the side of your brain that you're using to use your left side more than your right. Like they say, your right side's usually stronger. They say, you said that whatever side you move more, but it has to do with your brain. So something in your brain,
That
since
makes
it's so, yeah, like such a low percentage, it means that it's not supposed to happen. if it's such a low percentage that
It's like
only
an
50%,
anomaly or whatever.
that it means that there's probably something wrong in the brain that's not able to use the right side is less active than the left. That's just my hypothesis. So it says, it is also mentioned that the right side is stronger and the left side is thought to be weaker. Churches, if they allowed females, were designed to have men on the right side and women on the left, even though most can sit together now. We still get a taste of that at the wedding, at the brides and guests seated on the left. That's crazy. I didn't even think about that.
I would potentially not sit on the left at my next wedding. Boo-boo, that means you will sit on the right side.
It says, when the bride's guests are all seated on the left, it's the same side that she stands on. That's crazy. The idea of feminine energy...
I would have never thought that one.
Yeah. The idea of the feminine energy is on the left seems to have been with us since the dawn of time, or at least since the story of Adam and Eve was put on paper. By the way, the idea that the man had one less rib because of the story...
Was it on his left side?
Let's see.
I'm pretty sure it was his left rib in the Bible, which would make sense of why left women, because Eve was made from the left rib.
Some Christians writers have hypothesized that the rib was taken from Adam's left side. So the reason why people say that, it's not because the Bible says that, it's because people that are trying to push a narrative have said, oh, it's the left side, that's why they put the, like, I guess it's a bad energy. And since she's the one that tempted him, so the Bible doesn't even say it's from the left side. It's Christians or the church being like, oh yeah, it's the left. And so you're left.
You know what thought I just had, though? You know, the left side's supposed to be like, women are bad. It's the feminine side. But then you think about marriage and you put your ring on the left hand. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I wonder why that is also. Well, people have said that is because it's like, which is actually a lie, it was proven to be false, that there's an artery that leads right up to your heart on that finger.
But it's just weird because if you think about it, like way back in the day, whenever people started wearing wedding rings, like why is it on the left finger?
Okay, this is the one I was wondering. It's bad luck to open an umbrella indoors. Though some historians trace this belief back to ancient Egypt, sometimes the superstition that surrounds Pharaoh's sunshades were actually quite different and probably unrelated. To the modern day one about rain gear, most historians think the warning against unfurled, which means I guess closed, umbrellas inside, originated much more recently in Victorian England. An extraordinary origin of today's things, the scientist and author Charles Panette wrote in 18th century London, when metal-spoked waterproof umbrellas began to become popular as a common rain day sight, their stiff, clumsy spring mechanisms made them veritable hazards to open indoors. A rigidly spoked umbrella opening suddenly in a small room could seriously injure an adult or a child, or shatter fragile objects. Even a minor accident could provoke unpleasant words or a minor quarrel themselves, or strokes of bad luck in a family or among friends. Thus the superstition arose, a deterrent to opening an umbrella indoors. So it really just came from they umbrellas that they made back then weren't very good, so they would just open on their own sometimes, and then they would cause either accidents or things to break. It would make people mad, and they thought the umbrella was causing bad luck because it was opening. So they were trying to get people not to open them indoors, so I guess bad things wouldn't happen. But it literally came from them causing bad things to happen, not really any kind of actual luck. That's kind of funny. Okay, broken mirrors. This is the one you said we wanted to talk about. A broken mirror gives you
Yes.
7 years of bad luck. In ancient Greece, it is common for people to consult mirror seers who told their fortunes by analyzing their reflections. As this historian, Milton Goldsmith, explained in his book Signs, Omens, and Superstitions, the mirror was dipped into the water, and a sick person was asked to look into the glass. If his image appeared distorted, he was likely to die. If it was clear, then he would live. Brother, if you're dipping it into water, it's gonna ripple and it's gonna be distorted. So 9 times out of 10, these people will be like, "Oh, you're sorry, you're dead. I'm sorry, but you got a few days to live at most." And the funny thing is, most of the time they probably would die because they had no way of healing them. Imagine if the person just had a common cold and they're like, they go in and they're like, "So what does it say? You're dead. Sorry." When you're incarnated, like, I hope you have a better life. In the 1st century AD, the Romans added a caveat to the superstition at that time. It was believed that people's health changed in 7 year cycles. A distorted image resulted from a broken mirror. Therefore, it meant 7 years of ill health and misfortune rather than outright death. Like we talked about, it's literally, they believed that things changed in 7 years, like your luck could be restored, or you're like, it like took a part of your soul, and it took 7 years for that part of your soul, because they believe like mirrors captured souls because it saw you, it was a piece of you. So if you broke the mirror, it distorted you, it took a part of your soul, and it took 7 years for your soul to regenerate back to normal, which is resulted also like in health. If your soul is down, then your health will be down. Which also, hold on, every like 7 years, like like your body almost is like a new skin, because all those skin, like your skin is completely, I guess all your cells have been renewed after 7 years. The claim that your cells change every 7 years is a factoid that you may have heard at parties, but is it actually true? Your body holds a lot of cells. In fact, the human body is composed of about 37 trillion cells. Do every single one of 37 trillion cells change every 7 years? And why do our cells need to change anyways? Basically, the answer is yes, and also no. While it is true that your cells regenerate on an average of 7 to 10 years, two of those, there's a lot of variation. So I guess it depends on people, but the majority, yes, it's like your skin is you're completely almost new person. That's how people like to believe it, that after 7 years, it's like they've departed from their old self. You're a new person, which is, I feel like, plays into the fact that they believed that you were renewing yourself after 7 years. Anyways, why I heard somebody saying that they're like, after 7 years, skin cells that abusers touched are completely gone. So women that have gone through like hard things, they were saying that I'm no longer that person that was abused, because all that skin and everything was gone. I've held on to that one of my flashback moments of reminding myself how soon it will be that they never touched a cell on my body, since I heard that once. And as I am processing that, is it true by the time I celebrate 3 years sober, my abusive first boyfriend will have not touched a single cell on my body? So yeah, that's why I first heard that. Like somebody was well, she's saying 3 years, but it's 7 years. Yeah, it says, as it is about 7 years roughly for the turnover for every cell on your body, just skin as much to be completely renewed. I thought that was very, I guess it
I
was
got one more
inspirational.
year.
I thought it was very inspirational. But it's like, you're a completely new person. You can, I guess, not move on, but I think it helps some people to think that they can move on from this. The God bless you. I know this one, if this is the same one.
Oh, isn't it like that you would like
They believed you had the plague.
your heart would skip?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I heard another one's
It
like
came
your
from
heart would
two
skip a beat
things.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
It came from
Okay.
the nuns saying it, basically like almost trying to bless them because they thought they were going to die because of the plague.
Mhm.
Like they sneezed, they're like, oh, they're
Mhm.
going to get sick. And then, yes, I've heard
Like,
that they believe that your
you're
heart
next.
stopped too. I wonder if they're getting to both of those. In most English speaking countries, it is polite to respond to another person sneezing by saying, God bless you. All largely tied to the belief that sneezing expelled evil spirits. Our particularly custom began. This particular custom
Does
began
that
in the
mean that
sixth.
Satan's close behind you on your left
Oh,
side?
true.
That's
Get
why
the
you
salt quick.
sneeze.
Yeah. Carry around. Maybe people be carrying around holy water. Why aren't we just carrying around salt? It seems to do a lot of good getting the devil away from you. This particular custom began in the 6th century AD by explicit order of Pope Gregory the Great. A terrible pestilence was spreading throughout Italy at that time. The first symbol was severe chronic sneezing. So this is the one I heard. And this was often quickly followed by the death. So Pope Gregory urged the healthy to pray for the sick in order that the light-hearted response to sneezing, such as "May you enjoy good health," be replaced with a more urgent saying, "God bless you." If a person sneezed when alone, the Pope recommended that they say a prayer for themselves in the form of "God help me." Okay, so that's the one I
Please don't
heard
let me
of.
sneeze again.
Can you imagine? They just had like dander in the nose. I chew and everybody looks over at them.
Some pollen was out,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Oh no, I'm next."
So I learned a lot. I knew a lot. I feel pretty smart for, I have that deductive reasoning and thought a lot of things. We're pretty smart, I think. And I learned a lot so I can be even smarter, so I can give fun facts at parties and then no one will invite me back. So, with that being said,
Lock your doors and check your windows.
and always carry a little packet of salt to throw in the devil that might be behind your shoulder.